Okay. All right. Turning it over to our superintendent.
Thank you, President Freeman, trustees, executive cabinet, and community members. I want to begin my report tonight by acknowledging the California Department of Public Health's new COVID-19 guidance for K-12 schools for the 21-22 school year. On July 12th, CDPH announced that all students and staff will be required to wear masks while indoors on school campuses, but have the option to remove it when outdoors. Schools and school districts across the state, including all public, private, and charter schools, must abide by the guidance issued by CDPH. In light of this information and included on the agenda later this evening, trustees will consider passing resolution number 21-01 titled Request to the California Department of Public Health for the revision of face covering guidance for schools and school-based programs. This resolution is being brought forward at the request of a trustee at our last board meeting and gives voice to some students, staff, and families who wish for revised guidance making masks optional both indoors and outdoors next school year. We appreciate the patience and understanding of our students, staff, and families as we navigate through ever-changing state mandates related to the COVID-19, as our school board and district administration are not permitted to lessen the requirements we are under from the Department of Public Health. CDPH has stated that they will continue to assess conditions on an ongoing basis and will determine no later than November 1st whether to update mask requirements or recommendations. We will make sure we keep our families informed of any changes, and those with questions or concerns about the new guidance are encouraged to contact the California Department of Public Health directly. Although it's summer break, our campuses are busy hosting various academic and athletic programs, including Summer Blast, Impact, Extended School Year, and sports camps. Our youngest learners are having fun focusing on language arts, science, and math alongside peers from across the district at Summer Blast, as you can see on the screen. The program is taking place at Linda Vista, Melrose, Topaz, and Van Buren elementary schools through the end of this week. Summer Blast was offered by invitation only in order to work with elementary students on their ability to meet grade level standards from the 2020-2021 school year. We would like to offer a special thanks to Crystal Cove Conservancy for providing engaging video lessons about local beaches, environments, and animals for our students. Next, our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students from across the district were invited to participate in Summer Impact at Kramer and Valadez middle schools. This program, which is new for our middle schoolers this year, was designed to remediate academic gaps and reconnect students to school through a positive and collaborative learning environment. Students attend 4 days per week and are enrolled in language arts, math, physical education, and an elective class centered around topics such as art, technology, and leadership. High school students district-wide also had the chance to participate in English language arts, math, history, biology, and chemistry classes through Summer Impact at El Camino Real and Valencia High Schools, as you can see on the screen. Our students have reported enjoying the opportunity to socialize with their peers while earning A through G credit on our campuses. Also pictured on the screen, our extended school year program, also known as ESY, is running through the end of this week for students who qualify for special education. ESY took place at 5 campuses this summer, including Fairmont, Tynes, George Key, Venture Academy, and Valencia. And lastly, over 2,000 student athletes are preparing for competition in various summer sports camps at our 4 comprehensive high schools through August 30th. Both our academic and athletic summer programs could not have been made possible without the dedication of our teachers, staff members, coaches, and district and school administrators. And next, we received some exciting news about our very own school resource officer from the Orange County Sheriff's Department, Deputy Nick Doty. He was recently honored with the Distinguished Safe Schools Award at the 12th Annual Safe Schools Conference in Garden Grove. Deputy Doty has diligently served our Yorba Linda school campuses for 4 years now, and we have witnessed firsthand the positive impact he has had on students, staff, and most importantly, school safety. We echo the conference's sentiments in taking a moment to appreciate Deputy Doty's efforts to amplify best practices and increase collaboration between the education and law enforcement communities. And lastly, and in closing, I just want to remind everyone our free summer meals program is still going on now through August 19th, thanks to our Nutrition Services Department. All children 18 and under may receive free breakfast and lunch meals Monday through Thursday at Golden, Van Buren, and Woodsboro elementary schools, as well as Valadez Middle School Academy and Valencia High School. Our full list of service dates and times is available online at www.pylusd.nutrition.org. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Well, that brings us now to our consent calendar. The items that we have on the consent calendar are deemed to be routine in nature. They're items that we have all the information, hopefully all the information ahead of time. And if not, we have the opportunity to ask questions and come prepared to vote on these as a block. There are 50 items on this evening's consent calendar. However, we as board members may pull items from that and handle them separately. And so at this time, are there any of those items that any board member wishes to hold for a separate discussion and action?
Yes, Madam President, I'd
Mhm.
like to pull number 25, which is the approve the agreement for Brain Pop for the 2021-22 school year.
Mhm. Thank you. Any others?
I have a few I would like to pull.
Sure.
Number 14. Okay, number 29. Number 30. Number 32. 34, 35, 37, 39, 43, and 44.
Whoa, yeah, I
Sorry,
think
sorry,
you'll
sorry,
have to
sorry.
catch us up on
Sorry.
that, please.
Where did, okay,
Let's go. The last one I got was 31.
31. No, I'm not pulling 31. 30,
Oh, I thought you did say that.
32,
32.
34, 35, 37, 39, 43, and 44.
32, 34, 35.
37, 39, 43.
Okay, anyone else holding items other than those that have been identified? No? Okay, so with that, what I need is that motion, those will be handled separately.
I'll make the motion to approve those calendar with the exception of the pulled items for the 2021-22 school year.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. So I have a motion from Mr. Youngblood, a second from Mrs. Blades. That's to approve all the consent calendar items with the exceptions so determined or mentioned. Okay, with that, a vote, please. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion has carried. That includes a vote by our new board member, Lauren Fair. Okay, so that passes unanimously 5-0. Okay, so let's return and take one of each one of these individually. So to do that, the first item to deal with is item 14. And I do need a motion and a second for us to begin the process of a discussion.
I'll make a motion that we approve, ratify independent contractor agreements, educational services as listed in accordance with board policy number 4124, retention of consultants.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Mrs. Blades. I'm sorry. I'm kind of sloppy on my L's and C's, folks. From Mrs. Buck and Mrs. Anderson. So with that, we must have questions or comments on this. So let's move ahead on that. please.
Yeah. So what I was looking at was the Happiness is Now Experience LLC. And they are assemblies and it's $8,000 per school site. And I know that in the past we've had an issue and there's also some issues as to when the assemblies are in middle school, that there's some issues that the parents don't necessarily approve of. And so I'm just kind of wondering, and it's a lot of them I've pulled, I'm just wondering where our oversight is and our checks and balances. Because right now we approve this. And then so an assembly comes about and someone's upset, maybe at the topic of the assembly or something that happens. And then of course it goes, well, the board approved it. well, we're approving this as a whole, but is there a way that we can go like on a case by case basis where we're not approving the assemblies at every school site in totality? Can we go case by case basis so we can look and, get the community involvement as if the topic is appropriate and it's something that they want at the schools?
I'll turn that over. So you're looking to then have, whereas in this action item, there are numerous independent contractor agreements.
Right.
In
There's
fact,
numerous, yeah,
There's 21, for example, in tonight's
Correct.
action. So one of your things, I just want to be sure I understand, is it to make each of those a separate action? So instead of having 50 consent items like tonight, we would have added another 20 because we have 21 items. I want to be sure what you're going for here.
Right. I just wanted to make sure that when these, instead of maybe approving them all tonight, when the assemblies are going to come up, can the school give it to us in a board agenda? And so it can be looked at and then approved before the assembly, if that's possible.
I'll have to turn that over to staff because I realize that a lot of these contracts have to be created in a timely way. And we do that often as we do our business in the summer because we go year round, as far as not the students, but certainly our activities. So.
And I think if I, may just speak to that briefly, I think that is the challenge that we have, with it is just, it's time. And so very often, it holds things down for schools, when we're able to go ahead and approve, just a contract with Happiness Is Now as an example. And, just a reminder with that assembly that they do, it's the exact same assembly that they do for all schools, all sites, all grade spans. It's specifically about dance. And, we always have that open and available, for any board member or, anyone, here on the dais to go ahead and actually visit, one of those assemblies. It's always open to members of our staff. We have ourselves, gone out to vet that assembly as well. We watched 2 of them last year. And it is the same assembly. And so there is that idea and concept of once we approve it as an overarching contract, it opens it up to schools to utilize. If we were to say that they have to submit it every time, it just with board meetings once a month, there's a big amount of time that happens in between, and many schools may miss that opportunity to be able to take advantage of it.
Go ahead.
I have a question. I know like in the past, there was an incident with Happiness Is Now. And I'm just wondering, what, if you could just walk us through like what took place afterwards to secure that no more incidences would happen. And then my follow-up question would be, has Happiness Now followed through with their agreements? Has there been any further indiscretions or incidences?
I appreciate that question. There have been no further incidents. I myself personally, spoke with the executive director of the company to just express our concern with the incident that occurred at one of our school sites. And really it was very specific with just some information, personal information that one of the presenters shared, about his personal, life story that, we had understandably, family members, community members have issue with. And really after that conversation that, we've been able to have, and with their openness to any member of the board and, our district staff to be able to come out at any time to visit any one of those assemblies, they have assured us that, that is not something that would occur again.
And when did that incident occur? I kind of
Oh,
lost track.
goodness, about 2 years ago, I believe. Yeah.
And any problems
be-
since then?
No.
And so I guess my question is it the same assembly at every school?
It
They're
is,
not changing the
correct.
topic. So
Correct.
even at the elementary
Mhm.
school and they go to a middle school, it's going to be the same assembly.
Correct.
So what we're
yes,
approving here is the assembly that we saw last year.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Did that satisfy what you had to have clarification?
Yes,
Good.
I attended that assembly.
Okay. Okay, good.
I got down.
That's good. That's what we need to do. That's what we should do. Any other questions? If not, is it okay? Then we proceed with, we have our motion in a second. So let's go ahead. Yeah, you're good.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
You're good. You are good. I thought so. Okay, then let's go ahead. We have our motion. We have our second. So let's go ahead and take action on this. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Did I hear everyone on that?
Aye.
Okay. Didn't think I heard you. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Now let's move on to next item that has been held is, correct me if I have the wrong number here. It is 25. It was held by Mr. Youngblood. To begin our conversation, may I get a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement with Brain Pop LLC for the 21-22 school year.
I'll second.
Thank you. So we have our motion now from Mrs. Buck, second by Mrs. Anderson. All right. Perhaps, Mr. Youngblood, you could give us the question or concern or comment you wish to share.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So in my research about Brain Pop, I saw the original format material in which they were putting out. It looked very interactive, looked very, engaging. However, there were some content in there that was highly sexual. This is an unsupervised type of interactive learning tool. Also, I was a little concerned once I received another, form in which we got letter that stated that how they've changed some of the older things that they had that was concerning. They've changed over to where they're newer now, they're better, I guess you would say. But there was evidence in the past of, as I mentioned, the highly sexualized stuff, but also a lot of CRT information and a lot of incorrect English using all the identity pronouns that were going out. So personally, it kind of goes back to the old adage, where, you fool me once, shame on me, fool me again, shame on them. So the thing of it is, I would like to see something different than Brain Pop. There are many other learning tools out there, including ABC Mouse, which has got great ratings, PBS Kids or Fun Brain. I would like the district to possibly look at these and not renew the contract to Brain Pop.
Yes, please. I would please like to have us continue. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments, Trustee Youngblood. And so I'm going to just start by, just reiterating the extended period of time and relationship that we've had and partnership that we've had with Brain Pop. It's been this is my 10th year, here in Placenta Yorba Linda, and as a former principal, I, got to see firsthand the benefit and the value that, some of those interactive videos and games and quizzes that they offer. I've got to see that in process and in use in the classroom, and to see how it is able to just really ultimately bring learning to light for the students. It's an incredible tool that our teachers have used for over 10 years. I know that for a fact. And so it's that partnership and that value added concept that they've been able to bring to our teaching and to the education of our students that we continue to lean on as we look towards extending and expanding our contracts every year. They were as well a company who during the closure, they offered their services free of charge and extended all of their availability to all of our students. And it's actually at that time when we became aware of an add-on. It's Brain Pop ELL that they offer, and during the pandemic, so all 18 months of that period of time, that was available to our teachers to utilize with our English learners, and we have seen unbelievable evidence of their ability to learn and grow in their for specific language skills that they need to develop as English learners. So that is something that we
Excuse me, I don't know if it's the same person who continues to speak out, but I don't want to have to ask you to leave. And if need be, I will. I said it before, and the next time I will. Please, you're not being respectful. We're doing our business in front of you, but please be courteous listeners.
So that just speaks to the longevity of our relationship and the evidence we've seen of the benefit that it's had for our students. As a result, and everything that you've mentioned, some of the videos that came to our attention as well, there was one specifically on Black Lives Matters protests, and there was another that you made mention of about personal pronouns. I, again, personally myself have spoken with the executive director of the company to share and express our concerns. As a result, they have instituted specific safeguards, which now allows, number one, is they are going to inform us of any new content that is made available, through the platform. So we ourselves, myself and our entire Ed Services staff will receive notification on a monthly basis of any new videos that become available. And then we will get to make that decision on whether we're going to add them, to the platform. In addition to that, we also have filtering capabilities, which they've now made available. And so again, that allows us as a district staff to go ahead and make sure and filter, any of the content according to the grade levels. So that way, we're not getting a third grade, class, for example, having access to content that is more appropriate, age appropriate for a secondary, level student. So really with those safeguards, we feel very confident that we, are able to continue. And it is our hope that, yes, obviously at the will of the board, that we would be able to continue to offer that service because we feel so strongly of the benefit and the value that it brings to education for our students and teachers.
All right, thank you, Dr. Adamson. One question though. So you're saying we had a partnership with BrainPop for 10 years, is that correct?
We didn't have a partnership at the district level. It was really available. PTAs were purchasing it for their schools, and then we were obviously approving the use of it, but it wasn't a district-wide partnership. It was really just available. The licenses were available at individual schools, but several of our schools have been utilizing it over the past few years.
Okay, so a full decade before we figured out that there was some inappropriate material on there.
Well, from my understanding and from what I believe to be true is that material was only added in recent months. And it really was in light of, their ability to be able to address and adapt to, current events and, correct, we really should have been notified of that, one particular video that I, got to watch in particular. And again, now that we know about it, we, have made those safeguards and we are confident that we have safeguards in place in moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Would it be correct, though, that the Black Lives Matter, which is a more recent occurrence, and the use of particular pronouns, et cetera, again, is a very recent occurrence, so it wouldn't have gone back 10 years?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
And just for everyone to know too, those videos have been removed completely from our platform at this time as well. So yeah,
Thank you. Other questions?
Yeah, I have a question regarding this. In the spring, when this video was brought to the attention, if I remember correctly, didn't BrainPop say that they would remove it at the time, and it was not?
so what they did was they filtered it from our district account. What they did not do was it was still available freely to the public. So, there are two different, if you were to log in as a district, administrator, such as myself, my account, I was still able to access it. And then if you were to log in from, just as an outside user, they have, videos, freely available, in a shortened amount. Yes, it was still accessible, but not from a student's account, is from how that was explained to me. But again, when I, went back and followed up and shared the concern that from an outside perspective, just from the open public, anyone could go on and it would be, I think confusing, to any of our community members, that it looks like it is still available, but it wasn't through our actual, accounts that it was accessible. But again, they've responded to that and changed it.
Okay, and another question. In the board update we got regarding BrainPop, it says that they are pleased to report the release in the fall of 2021, a self-service functioning, to help filter these out. Is that up and running currently, or is it not going to be released until the fall?
The self-serving feature of it, which will give us immediate and direct ability to filter and remove content ourselves, that will be available in the fall. Right now, anything we want to remove, we have to go through BrainPop. So essentially what they'll be doing is, come September, is remove the middleman out of the process. We'll have that direct ability to do that.
Okay, so
So
our
that's still
staff has
coming.
not tried this out yet.
Not yet, no.
Okay.
no.
And do they have a date that they think that it will be available?
It'll be the first day of school for us. So as of, I believe that's September 1st for us, August 31st.
Okay. This is, I think, my last question, because I'm just trying to wrap my
No,
head
no,
around it.
Great questions.
Um,
Thank you.
is there a way that we can try it out before we approve it? Or do we have to approve it, purchase it for $95,000 and then try it out and see if it works or not? That's my question.
If that would make you feel more comfortable, we can absolutely allow for that time, of course, absolutely, yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? All right, then what we have is a motion to approve. We can take a vote on that and then we'll go from there. So with that, the item before us is item 25, and it is to approve the agreement with Brain Pop LLC for 2021-22 school year. Again, we have our motion. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Nay.
Okay, motion fails. Okay, the two votes in favor are Mrs. Buck, Mrs. Freeman. The dissenting votes are Mr. Youngblood, Mrs. Blades, and Mrs. Anderson. Okay. We'll follow up on whatever we do next. Thank you. Continuing on, item number 29. This is held by Mrs. Blades. Again, can I get a subscription, please? A subscription. I was reading the word that's in here on item 29. My mistake. Continuing on, can I get a motion and a second?
Sure. I'll make a motion that we approve the agreements with Second Step Digital Programs for Melrose and Morse Elementary Schools to purchase the 3-year subscription beginning 2021-22 school year.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All right. Now, Mrs. Blades, could you bring to us, your points or concerns and so forth, questions?
So this has to do with the social emotional learning. And also I was just kind of curious with this, if as much learning loss as we've had, is this going to be an extra subject taught at school? I've been logging on to these things and I've been looking at them and seeing what it is. And it seems like the way that this is set up, this is actually kind of like another subject that these teachers are going to be incorporating in our schools. And then also too, I think it would be good for our community to know exactly what this would be about and what would be spoken about. And just a good explanation, because there's so many different topics and theories about what this is. And so could we just get an explanation?
Sure.
And then is this going to be taking away class time from the core curriculum? Because a lot of parents are concerned about their kids' learning loss. And is this necessary right now, or, over reading, writing, arithmetic?
Right, absolutely.
Thank you.
And two really good questions. And so second step is essentially it's a character education building program. Again, it's something that we have utilized at several of our schools over the past few years. It teaches core values, and to answer the question, is it going to take the place of additional curriculum? It is in fact designed to be embedded into and built into any curriculum that the teachers are utilizing and delivering in any given day. It's actually designed for really just to be used twice a week for 10 to 15 minute periods. For many teachers, they'll utilize it and do a quick lesson as students are coming back in from recess or lunchtime, and they'll embed it into even a writing activity, or make it part of their read aloud as they're you're just taking that break time as they're transitioning back into learning time. And so it really is ideally designed to work with the reading programs and and writing as well. And even there's a public speaking component that goes along with it. But honestly, it's a minimum of twice a week, maybe 15 minutes at a time, designed to just teach core values for our students. So
So it's
definitely
manners and
Correct.
doing the right thing.
Correct,
That's what this will be
exactly.
focused on.
right, absolutely. right,
Perfect.
yeah,
Thank you for the
yeah,
clarification.
Of course, absolutely.
Any other questions? No? Okay, we have our motion and our second on this item. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed unanimously, 5-0. Next item was number 30. I have that hopefully correct.
Yes,
Lot of
you do.
notes. Okay, to begin us and to lead us into a conversation, I would like a motion and a second, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3-year online subscription for Ed Puzzle for Valdez Middle School Academy.
A second.
Thank you. All right, so with that, this is held also by Mrs. Blades. Your questions? what-
So my question is that what the description is, it says Ed Puzzle is an easy to use platform where teachers can make any video of their lessons. And so my thought and my feelings on this were, where is the oversight for this? Because we are going to give, this is a 3-year contract, and then we're giving teachers the ability to make their own lessons. And then it's also able to be shared from other districts and other areas. And so I know that there's a lot of concern in our community about sticking with the curriculum and knowing what's going on in the classroom. And so for me, I would not mind approving something like this because it seems like it could be a great program. But my concern about approving it tonight is that we don't have any oversight as to how like the district looks at this and approves it. It just kind of seems like we can throw anything into the classrooms. And so that's my concern with this.
Okay. So Ed Puzzle is just, it's a really it's a creative, means and ways again for students to learn and bring learning to life. The unique thing about Ed Puzzle is it allows for, teachers the ability to actually create a video of their lesson, and they can turn it into even kind of a fun, a formative assessment. It could be a quiz, for example. And so there's the creative component of it. I think as far as the oversight of this is a request by Valdez, and our director of middle school, Mr. Carmona, has spoken directly with Mr. Gracian, and he has really assured that he will be providing that oversight, and teachers will be submitting samples of specific videos that they're creating and intending to utilize as well. So it will be overseen by the school principal.
But could we get district oversight? Could we move this to like next month and see if we can get some district oversight? Is that possible?
And when you say district oversight,
Can it
you're
come to
wanting
the
us
executive
to,
board? Can it come to the middle, can it come to Mr. Carmona to be reviewed, just to ensure that our parents know what's going on in their classrooms?
I mean, we can absolutely, maybe get some samples of those lessons, that are being utilized to have an idea of the content of that. As far as every single lesson that's being created, and submitted, I think that would just be very time intensive. But we can absolutely put something in place where we're getting samples of that even on a monthly basis to get a sense of how it's being utilized, and there may be even samples of that we could even share in board updates with you, as a board, so that way you have a better sense of how that's being used.
The most appropriate day-to-day oversight really is from the principal, the site principals, but we can actually absolutely have that expectation that he work with Mr. Carmona on a regular basis as we implement this.
How many of these do we anticipate that they use a day?
It just varies, teacher to teacher. I would say maybe it's being utilized, once a week, once every 2 weeks in some cases. Some teachers may do it more than that. It's time consuming. It's not going to be something they're going to be utilizing every day because there's not going to be time for that. It's a more, extended lesson that they have that ability to do. But again, the benefit of it is it's another creative way of, bringing learning to life and for students to be able to learn.
All right, additional questions? No. Sounds like it's a way to engage students more, because that's one of the things, certainly as we do return after some of the unusual times we've traveled through, student engagement is going to be important. Yes.
Can I
please.
just confirm, this isn't curriculum? This is just teachers recording the curriculum they already have so that
Correct.
kids can watch
Creating
it
a lesson.
repetitively.
Absolutely correct. Yes.
Okay. Speaking from somebody that's worked with some ELLs and special ed kids, that repetition and being able to watch it over and over, it can be beneficial, especially when you're trying to learn mouth movements and things like that. So I can see the value to have it just as the video piece.
Thank you. Other? No? No? Okay. Student board member, Lauren? Okay, all right. Okay, well then we do have our motion and second. Let's go ahead and take our vote on this, please. All in favor of, this is item 30 again. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
Okay, can the maker of a motion oppose it? Can the maker of a motion oppose the motion she makes? Okay, all right, so just checking that the maker of the motion can oppose the same motion, but yes, you can. Just, following the Roberts rules, that's all, just making sure we're on task here. So that will be recorded as a 4-1 vote to pass, and the dissenting vote would be Mrs. Blades. Okay, I believe our next item is item 32. And again, a motion, please.
I'll make that motion to approve the 3-year online subscription for Kahoot Premium Plus for Valadez Middle School Academy.
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, and this is held by Mrs. Blades. Again, if you have questions or concerns, please, please share those.
it's just my concern is just the oversight. And just maybe we can just explain a little bit more about it.
Sure.
The Kahoot.
I don't know if you obviously never played a game of Kahoot, but it's really, really fun. I'm going to say we do use a lot of them for principal meetings as well. But ultimately it's a tool for teachers to go ahead and create a quiz they turn it into a game. And so if I'm a teacher and I'm utilizing it, I'm going to go ahead and select, it could be as a means of reviewing material for an upcoming quiz or test, 10 questions, put them into the actual program itself, and it really then turns it into a game. And so now all of a sudden you've got a review, and your students, so it's a competitive way of them to be able to kind of test their knowledge, and it really just it turns the quiz into a game is essentially what it is. But it's fun because it's online and it's got music that goes with it, and it's a 10-minute unbelievably interactive review that students
It
love.
also gives teachers immediate feedback by
Okay.
student, because each student
Right,
has
right.
basically like a remote control.
Right.
And so they enter their answer. And so it gives feedback to, okay, 90% of the students got this right, or only 40% I need to reteach.
Got it. Okay. Now we have an understanding what Kahoot is. Thank you.
Okay, and I highly recommend a game at some point.
Any other questions? So we do have our motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion has passed unanimously. Okay, continuing on to item 34. I'll take a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3-year online subscription with Clever Prototypes LLC for Valdez Middle School Academy.
Thank you. I have a
Second.
motion. I have a motion from Mrs. Anderson, second by Mrs. Buck. This was held by Mrs. Blades. If you would share what your questions might be.
I've held a lot of things tonight.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience. I just wanted to make sure, and some of the questions from the community was, is this going, this is a social studies curriculum? So this goes along with our district approved curriculum, or is this able to be used for anything?
It really could be for anything. I know it's advertised as something specific for, social studies, but it's really specific to helping students with the concept of storytelling. And so it really could be part of English language arts even, the teachers can use it in whatever creative way they want to. But again, it's so interactive in the sense that students are able to go ahead and, it allows them to drop and, copy and paste, different images and, content to really create their own story and tell, a lesson in history it could be, or, do a retelling of a story or a novel that they've read. And, often the way I've seen it used with teachers, that they do it as again, public speaking, component where students will do a little presentation of it. And so once again, you see all the skills and value, of what's being taught at that time, not only retelling, but, the creative, component of it, and then public speaking too. So
So you
Lot
guys
of
are
value.
comfortable that it's going along with our district curriculum and it's not
absolutely
straying?
correct. Yes.
Okay,
yes,
thank you very
yes.
much.
Any additional questions? No? All right, thank you. Okay, so we have our motion and second. Let's go ahead, take a vote on that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has passed unanimously. Thank you. I believe the next item held, I hope I have this right, was it item 36? 35. Again, my little arrows I should have inserted here. Okay, if I may have a motion, please.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 3-year online subscription for TCI Inc. History Alive for Valadez Middle School Academy.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mrs. Buck, a second by Mrs. Anderson, and this was held by Mrs. Blades. If you would perhaps share questions or concerns you may have.
The other concern was the oversight with the teachers, the interactive video-based lessons, and the fact that it was, again, coming from other districts, other teachers, other schools. And so I just wanted to, it was just about oversight. And I just want to make sure that we know what this is and that our community knows what this is and that we're on top of it.
Sure, absolutely. And we will, you know, have the same safeguards in place that we did for Edpuzzle with this as well. So
Okay.
absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
Yes.
correct. I had a community member ask me about this particular one because I guess they got a little bit of a checkered past. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I guess there was some inappropriate material that was presented at one point. I don't know if that has changed, but that was one of the concerns in which I had.
Understood. And if this is one, you know, you'd want us to get a little bit more information on, you know, for you to be able to present, you know, in time for the next board meeting, we absolutely can do so.
I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely, of course.
I have a question. This is a new online program, correct? This is not the old History Alive textbook. Is that correct?
It is, it's online and interactive. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Additional questions? No? Okay, then let's go ahead and take a vote on this, that we do have a motion for it for tonight. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Me.
Okay. It has passed on a 4-1 vote, and the dissenting vote on that is Mr. Youngblood. Okay. Moving ahead to item 37. I will take a motion, please.
I make a motion to approve the 3-year online subscription for Edpuzzle for Kramer Middle School.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Mrs. Blades and a second by Mrs. Buck. This was held by Mrs. Blades. If you have questions, this is a great time to go ahead and share those, please.
Again, it's the oversight. Can we explain what Edpuzzle is? And can we just
Okay.
explain it to our community?
Sure.
I'm really going through because I want everybody to be informed as to what this
Absolutely.
is. And these are the ones that I received in my email. So I just want to make sure
Absolutely.
that I'm doing my due diligence and everybody understands it.
Right, absolutely. News ELA or News ELA, as some people refer to it about, it's very specific to, I'm sorry, Edpuzzle,
Edpuzzle.
thank you.
It's okay. There's
So
a lot
sorry.
on here.
Edpuzzle. This is specific to, you know, it takes content and very often it is, you know, specific to social, you know, studies, you know, content, but also current events, and really just allow students to once again, just engage creatively in a hands-on, you know, manner. They have that ability to even create some of their own lessons and turn those, you know, into videos as well. And I think again that the unique piece, you know, with this particular program is that it again allows for you know, teachers to really turn it into a little bit more of a formative assessment piece. So again, it gives them that data on, you know, have students captured and have they learned the content that's been delivered. So it's another creative way of, you know, determining what's been learned and if students have mastered the content before moving on to another unit.
Okay. And I just had a question too. I don't know if this was a 3-year. Yeah, that is. How come they're all 3-year online subscriptions? Do we ever get to do is there like a starter package where you just get to do 1 year to try it out? It seems like everything's 3 years.
Typically, it's a cost savings. If you know, sign up for 3 years, it's a better price. Yeah, if we do 1 year.
But if
Correct. And
I know.
Dr. Alsassa just reminded us there is an out clause, you know, if we were to have to you know,
Okay,
give notice that
perfect.
we want to, you know, end
Okay,
it sooner,
great.
then
Thank you.
Additional questions? No? Okay, let's go ahead then and take our vote on this item. All of those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion has passed unanimously. Okay, continuing on to item 39, please. I'll take a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3-year online subscription for junior scholastics for Kramer Middle School.
Second.
Thank you. I have a
I'm sorry,
motion.
I have this as the online subscription for New Stella for Kramer Middle School.
Yes,
It is,
yes.
correct.
Oh, it is Nucella? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
For Nucella, not for scholastics.
So what, okay, do we need a do-over here?
Okay, I'll do over.
Okay, let's. be
I'll make a
sure-
motion to
Yes.
approve the 3-year online subscription for Nucella for Kramer Middle School.
Okay. All right,
Second.
we're good. Okay, fine. And so we have a motion by Mrs. Anderson, a second by Mrs. Buck. And again, Mrs. Blades, any questions you may have?
Yeah, I looked up this because this was another issue. And what I saw in there was a lot of articles had to do with social justice, LGBTQ. There's just a lot of things on there that the parents were very concerned about that they didn't think was appropriate to be learning at the classroom in school, which when they as a parent couldn't answer the questions for the student and they were worried that they might have to be writing about that. And so I did get on and I was on there extensively looking at it, and it's 3 years and it's $56,000. And so I just feel like maybe we can find a better option that isn't so controversial, and maybe I don't know. I just think it could be problematic. So I guess I'm trying to play offense
Sure,
instead of
understood.
defense.
I think this is one that we would also, ask for the opportunity to be able to, gather more information on. I do believe that this is something, another chance for us to, reach out to the executive director and ask for maybe similar filters, that we have in place for some of the other programs that we're utilizing. I just think, for our community members here, the benefit with New Zealand that, again, it just makes it unique is the sense that it does, deal with some, current events within reason. It aligns, with the content. But what it allows is for teachers to go ahead and take, certain articles and really be able to align it to the teaching level of the students in their class. And so it can be, if you've got a reader who is more advanced at an above grade level, and then those for below, it just gives them that ability to do so. But I hear the concern, and, if you will let us just gather more information to come back, to you with that before the next board meeting, we can absolutely do that.
So when you say it makes the news article grade level, so if, say I was an 8th grade
Mhm.
student and I was giving this article, but I could only read like at 4th grade level, it would still be the same information, but it'd be
Mhm.
using words and things that I could read. Is that
Absolutely,
correct?
that is correct. Yes, that is correct. And I just, as far as current events, and I know that's a controversial, topic right now, and there is a concern about what our students are being exposed to. But, I just remind, us that as part of the standards that we're teaching, we are, our teachers are expected to, be able to put, content and expose students to content to really develop their critical thinking. But at the same time, we know that, we've got to do that in a manner that is, we're not teaching, it's unbiased. We're not teaching one way or the other. But at the same time, any content that is taught, it's aligned to our curriculum. Again, this just allows for another version, another option, of it and ways to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Further questions? So you could really perhaps phrase it that in some of these, utilizing this, and this is for the middle school level, it's teaching about topics, not teaching by virtue that we're trying to, share information in a way to persuade. It's really an awareness to teach
Absolutely.
about different contemporary issues.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, no other questions? If not, we have a motion. We'll go ahead and take our vote on that, please. All in favor, please.
Madam
say-
President, real quick. So one more time, explain it's teaching about current topics. Is that using it in whatever format that is age appropriate? Is that
Again,
how I
Oh,
understand it?
absolutely. Correct. Yes. So it'll turn an article into allow teachers to take an article and put it into your different Lexile levels. So you could have the same article and make it applicable to a fourth grade reading level, but then also work with it so it's also applicable to a 10th grade reading level at the same time. So you'd have different versions of the same article depending on the variation of level.
And this is controlled by the teacher themselves, so
Correct.
they're pulling from whatever current situation is, and they're able to expand it or make it more malleable for the child. Is that what I understand?
Correct. Yes. But the content that they're using, it's not going to just be random content. It's going to be something that aligns with a lesson that they're teaching. Then they, have Newsella to be able to go ahead and search for an article or content that aligns with that lesson that they're teaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you. Again, before we take our vote, I disappointingly ask for respect and silence as we conduct our business. Okay, yes, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We have other schools in our district that use it, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And have
yeah.
we had any inappropriate uses of this that have been reported?
Not that I'm aware of, no. And I believe I would know about it at this point, so no. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that is a good point, because if you have had information come to you, by all means, direct them also
Absolutely, so we
to
can
staff so
address
that they
it,
can
yeah.
get right on that right away. Thank you. Okay, anything else? Okay, all right, now let's go ahead and take a vote on this. All those in favor, please say aye.
I
Opposed?
No.
Okay, motion passes on a 3-2 vote. The dissenting votes on that would be Mrs. Blades and Mr. Youngblood. Okay, moving on to item 43. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion that we approve district membership in the California School Boards Association and the California School Boards Association Education Legal Alliance for the 2021-22 school year.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Mrs. Buck and a second by Mrs. Anderson. This is held by Mrs. Blades. And if you would please share your questions and concerns.
I wish to not renew with the CSBA. Basically, this last year, they've been supporting bills in the Senate that is giving less transparency to parents for curriculum and into our schools. Also, the resolution that had anti-cop rhetoric also came from the CSBA. And I feel like the $23,661 that is our membership fee to be in there is not giving us really anything. That's kind of just taking our money, because if we attend any conferences, if we go to any classes, we still have to pay. And I just feel like there's something better out there than this. And I also, we only got this on Thursday, so I started to research a little bit. And I was also told that the OC Department of Education is also seriously considering pulling out of the CSBA as well. So I feel like if we can hold the vote to get more information to see what our other options are, because on the next page, number 70, to get the online access to the reference policy manual, sample policies, regulations, bylaws, all of the stuff that we probably would need, that's an additional $5,300. And I just feel like we could probably do this on our own. You can log on. I logged on not as a member of the CSBA, but just as a normal person. And I was able to pull up what our emails we're getting every day. And I also was able to log on to their Twitter, and I compared, and what was on their Twitter and their social media was exactly what we were getting in our emails. So I just feel like if we're going to be fiscally responsible, I just don't feel like this is something that's fiscally responsible. And I also don't feel like them supporting something that gives parents lack of transparency in our schools and curriculum, and then also the anti-cop rhetoric. It's just not something that I feel personally that represents my values or the values of our community.
Are there additional questions on this?
I was looking into other organizations and I have not been able to find any other organizations that support school board members. Does anyone know of anything different?
I know of nothing.
Okay.
I know of nothing.
The only thing I could find was this California local elected officials, but it's kind of like it's a thought. They haven't done anything yet to go forward. I kind of look at CSBA kind of as a mixed bag. They represent a diverse state and a diverse population. And pretty much in everything I see, there's stuff that I agree with, and then there's stuff that I disagree with. And I also don't believe that we should just live in a vacuum where we only hear things we agree with. I think it's good to hear diverse opinions and know what's out there. So, like I said, there's a lot that I've taken that I've really enjoyed, and then a lot that I have disliked. And I look at it kind of as a mixed bag, but I don't really see another option at this time that would support us. And I've attended several seminars that have been free, that have been offered online, and education, stuff. And well, those you pay for. And I think, it's just a help to help us be more effective leaders. They teach us the kind of like the roadmap of where to go and how we can be effective leaders in the system that we have been given. I mean, just every government issue has parameters, and I think they do a good job of showing us kind of where our lines are and where our parameters are, what we can, how we can affect change and do that. I don't always think we have to listen to their political views. I think we're all smart and intelligent people, and we can filter out as a school board member. I was thinking about this because I too got several emails on it. And I was thinking back to my college philosophy class that I took. And I never knew where my teacher stood in philosophy. We would go to a class and we'd have a discussion, and you had to argue your point, and he would argue totally against us. And then somebody else would have an opposing view, and he would just switch on a dime. And I think that's kind of where I see CSBA is kind of that balance where you can read this view and then you can read this opposing view. And I've seen them support things that I agree with, and I have seen them support things that I don't agree with. But I think as an individual, we can make those choices ourselves. We're not children. We're not being indoctrinated. We can make those decisions and take the information that we want and leave the information that we don't want at the side of the door. And so that's kind of how I feel about the School Board Association.
My concern is that we're giving money to an association that is going against transparency in our schools for parents. That's what we're doing. We're giving our money to them. And we're really not getting anything out of it. It's a membership fee. So we're giving money to someone who is supporting bills that support less transparency. And I just feel like that's supporting an organization that is going against parents. I mean, look at here tonight. We have parents here who are calling for parents' choice. And so that is my concern. And so even thinking about it too, as I was driving over here, we could even hold the vote. And maybe we contact the OC Department of Education and ask them, do you know of any way or any means, where would you guys go next? And what would you do? What would be your plan? We could hold the vote for a month and let us investigate this before we renew. I mean, I'm sure we could renew at any time.
When does our membership expire? I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
I didn't hear a question.
I
I'm
said,
sorry.
when does our membership expire?
Do you know the date, Miss Newton, on when our membership is actually up? Or was it with the school year? Yeah, I think it goes school year to school year.
That sounds right.
Right.
That makes sense.
It's for this, so this would be for the 21-22 school year.
So it would officially start when our school year begins in August or
July 1.
July 1? Okay, so
And I believe there's already some offerings that have begun to come through that lead up to the beginning of school, as far as you say, webinars and other things to help incoming board presidents and so on and so forth. So yeah, there's, of course, that often happens in December, but there's a lot of things that are already on the docket. I did do some research in advance because Carrie and I both serve as delegates to the CSBA Delegate Assembly. And there's what, about 260-ish, I don't know, somewhere. 500? That many delegates? Seemed like it was fewer, but anyway, it's a lot. I just want to comment to what you have said, Mrs. Anderson, and it's true. There are differing opinions offered when we attend delegate assembly. It is not one voice. It is many voices with differing views. And those are certainly heard. So it's not what I might say is a lockstep kind of approach. It is a way in which we as school districts, here we're in Region 15 here in our county. I think we are the largest delegation in the state of all the regions. And we've actually produced several different board or CSBA presidents to that organization. So Orange County has really had its opportunity and continues to have opportunities to give voice to the different views that are out there among school board members and school boards as units. As far as membership right now, there's over 1,000 school districts in the state. Several people were out of the office, so I've been trying to track down the exact numbers, but the closest I got was from our regional director, Meg Catuli, who is a board member in Los Alamitos, and she's director for our entire region. It's about 97% of the school districts that belong to CSBA. Those that aren't tend to be very small rural districts, of which we do not compare in any way. Also, all members, including the Board of Education in our county, do belong currently to CSBA. So it is a respected, appreciated organization because, as you've said, there really isn't another entity out there that can provide the training, whether it be to us as individual board members as we go to our annual conference in December. And we as board members, we have days worth of conference course choices that runs the gamut as far as types of information that is there for us to go and interact with other board members throughout the state. And again, it's very clear, we all don't think the same throughout the state and throughout the individual boards, and that's fine. That's okay. We would no longer have a voice at that table to bring our issues from our district if we no longer belong. We will no longer belong as delegates. That was verified by my inquiries today. If we do not belong to CSBA, and I do have the paperwork to, it's one of their things that I got printed out, it's an exclusive opportunity that as members of CSBA that we have to have the services of Gamut. The time and the time which equals money ultimately, and the way in which if we were to do our own creation and updating and revision and so forth of board policies without Gamut would be beyond strenuous because the cost of legal alone would way exceed this if we were trying to create and update and be current with all laws, because laws continue to change all the time. And I hear your point about things that they may support that aren't what you want to support. But likewise, they do support in other ways that make fundamental differences. And one of those that was pointed out to me by Meg Catulli was that recently CSBA negotiated a reduction in the unemployment rate that is put on the shoulders of school districts, and that was huge for us. Another one that in some of the literature that came through today, because part of that membership on the first of the two items includes the Legal Alliance, and that's why that total is as it shows. And the Legal Alliance works for all school boards, but it will work if we had something, they would be here to help us too. And so some of the cases that they've recently had, they filed amicus brief work with on behalf of Brennan B versus West Contra Costa USD. And this was protecting LEAs, which we are one, against excessive damage awards under the misapplication of the UNRRA Act, which aims to protect individuals from discrimination by business establishments. Another one is CP versus Walnut, CP, maybe it's CPV, I'm not sure the way it's written, Walnut versus Fremont Unified, ensuring LEAs can assess appropriate developer fees to build and modernize our schools. Another is Crawford versus Commission on Professional Competence of Harupa Unified School District. And again, protecting LEA's ability to make appropriate school staffing decisions when staff displays immoral conduct, okay? And the last one I'll share is Gordon versus LAU SD, fighting unreasonable attorney fees in special education litigation against LEAs. And that's a very big one up and down the state. The cost for litigation in special ed is a big hit. It's a very universal burden that hits districts. So I'm just sharing some ways in which we can look at, as you so well put it, Mrs. Anderson, we can be a part of this, learn, certainly share our concerns, and we can do with that information as we see we need to do.
President Freeman, real quick. So let me get this straight. The Gambit that you're talking about, the online renewal portion of Gambit, if we were not part of the CSBA, if we decided to change our membership, and
Right.
get it all together, would we still have access
No.
to the online?
No, and in fact, let me find where that says. Access to Gamut Policy, Policy Plus, and meetings is a benefit exclusive to CSBA members.
All right, thank you.
So would it be unreasonable to hold our vote for another month and talk to the OC Department of Education? Because I mean, I'm hearing from a lot of reliable sources that they're seriously consider pulling out. So if the OC Department of Education is seriously considering pulling out, I mean, maybe they have a plan.
Since I know of none, and if anyone else has any ideas in terms of any other entity, there isn't. The only other thing I can think of, which CSBA withdrew from for a period of time, was the National School Board Association. But those are, when they have their meetings, they're all around the United States. I've only been to one, and that's when it was years ago in San Francisco, because that was more feasible, less costly to travel there, et cetera. And frankly, their issues rise way above many times the issues that are most important for us here in our state, because they then go to a national level. And we usually are most concerned with what we're dealing with our laws and so forth right here. So, but as far as what the Orange County School Board decides to do, I don't personally believe that has any bearing on what we decide to do as to how we see our needs.
And so when you're talking about all the stuff that they've been doing, won't that still affect us negatively or positively, regardless if we're in it or not? Because it's going to be like state law with the schools. And
what the CSBA can do is, like any other lobbyist, they do
Right.
share information and they do visit with the legislators, which we also have the opportunity with, again, opportunities provided through CSBA for us to be part of Legislative Action Day, which is annual. I know you've recently gone to that. we always have that opportunity.
Right, but what I was asking is when you were talking about all these cases, like, and the positive outcomes or the negative outcomes, regardless if we're a member or not, our school district will still be impacted both positively and negatively, regardless if we're members or not.
That could be true.
But also our school district won't have a voice because we
Mhm.
have representation
Mhm.
and we won't have a voice to do it. And I was thinking, I was like, okay, so what did they lobby for recently? And recently they lobbied for on behalf of during the budget process so that we would not have deferrals because the governor in his original budget, he had that, we were going to still get our deferrals from last year and our money was going to be postponed.
Yeah.
And CSBA lobbied so that they would pay all of the back dues money now so that we could have the money in our pockets and spend it versus waiting. I think it was, when was it coming, Mr. Giordano?
It
Like
was gonna be
December,
after- yeah.
if I remember correctly? Of next year. And so they lobbied for in behalf of all of us so that we get our full funding now and we wouldn't have to wait till next year to get our funding. So that's why I said that there's some things that are good and some things that I disagree with, but
Regardless, they would have lobbied, other people are giving their money, so what they lobbied for, we still were able to receive. That's my point, that's all.
Unless there's other things,
I just want to add just the legislative action piece. And it really is bringing our voice to the table. And so I have the opportunity as any board member. We don't have to be a delegate. Any of us can participate in Legislative Action Day. And it really is getting together with other board members to talk about what's happening specifically in Orange County or specifically what's happening with that legislators area. So we met with Philip Chin and all of our assembly members that touch this district, which are a number of them. Our state senator, occasionally we get a chance to lobby with our federal representatives. So it really allows us to get together and bring a discussion that impacts Orange County and impacts us specifically, that doesn't impact maybe other parts of the state. And it allows our legislators to not only hear from just us, because we could one-on-one go in and talk to them, but when you bring 20 of them to the table and we all are saying the same thing, like broadband access is one of those that they advocated this year and that we received. We received more access to that, but that's because our voice has to be heard. There's so many voices around the state. And fortunately, we have this opportunity to be able to bring our voices together so that it has a larger impact. Philip Chin, our assembly member, was a school board member before. He and I both were elected at the same time and went through CSBA classes together. So it also builds those relationships as time goes on, because people might move from one position to the other, but you're building those initial relationships so that now he knows me. I can reach out to him and say, hey, we're having this issue. Can you help advocate for us? And he can do that. So it really has, over time, being a part of this has helped us be a stronger district and allowed us to work with others and find best practices and enrich what we're doing.
I would propose that since we've had a lot of opportunity, let's go ahead and take our vote on the motion that has landed before us, and then we'll proceed from there. Okay. All right. So we do have our motion and second on this item. Now I'm speaking of item 43, which is membership for CSBA and the Legal Alliance. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No,
Okay, it's a 4-1 passage of the measure, and the dissenting vote was Mrs. Blades. Item 44, may I take a motion and a second?
I think we could have put 44, 43 and 44 were together. It was the gamut, the online.
Well,
We have to do them separately.
we have to do it separately since you held them
Alright.
separately. So let's go ahead and take a motion and second on this, please.
I make a motion, we approve the renewal of California School Boards Association's Gamut online subscription for the 2021-22 school year.
I'll second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Mrs. Buck, a second by Mrs. Anderson. Any further questions on Gamut? I think we did kind of cover it. Hopefully. Okay, well, let's go ahead with the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, we have a passage of the item with a 4-1 vote, and the dissenting vote is Mrs. Blades. I think we're there. We finished our consent calendar. Well done,
we take a break?
everyone. Let's take about five, no more than 10 people. Please be back promptly because staff has to do this all over again tomorrow. So well, this says 9:23 and I always go by this up here. So at 9:23, we will take a recess and it will be for no more than 10 minutes.